All right, students, I got all the way through this lesson and the iMovie crashed. So here's my second try at lesson 99, page 308. So this lesson is on exponents with signed numbers. So just to review, we have our base of 4 and our exponent is a little tiny number that's floating at top, and that is a 2. So we would read this as 4 squared. Now the answer to this is not 8 because it's not 4 times 2. But the exponent means is how many times we're timesing that number by itself. So we are going to times 4 by itself 2 times. So 4 times 4 gives us 16. All right? Now, what do we do when we see this? Negative 4 squared. The way that I want you to think about it is negative can also mean the opposite of. So this is the opposite of 4 squared. Okay? And we know that 4 squared is 16. And to make something the opposite, it's going to be negative. So think of it that the squared is only applying to the 4 and not to the negative symbol, okay? Or think of it as the opposite of 4 squared. 4 squared is 16. The opposite is negative 16. The third thing that we're going to encounter is negative 4 in parentheses squared. Now, when this happens, the exponent applies to both the number and the negative. Essentially what we're saying is that negative 4 is one term that's being held together. So this really means negative 4 times negative 4. And we know that 4 times 4 is 16, and a negative times a negative is a positive, okay? So make sure you get those two rules down. If there's no parentheses, it means the opposite of 4 squared, which is negative 16. If there are parentheses, it means that we expand it out. So negative 4 times negative 4, and that gives us a positive 16. So let's do the examples that the book gives us and see how this applies. I'm just going to tell you now, they're kind of doozies. Okay, it's going to take some critical thinking on our part. So we have negative 4 squared minus negative 2 cubed minus 2 squared. Oh geez, I think I just went between negative 4 squared minus, I went between two different ones. Okay, so negative 4 squared minus negative 3 squared minus 3 cubed. And then we have negative 3 cubed minus negative 2 cubed minus 2 squared. All right, so step by step, going each term from left to right. Negative 4 squared, remember that means the opposite of 4 squared, which we just reviewed was negative 16. I'm going to bring down my minus. Now negative 3 squared. So that means that we're going to do negative 3 times negative 3 minus 3 cubed, okay? So then I have negative 16 minus, what's 3 times 3? 9. And then a negative times a negative is a positive. So we're just going to do minus, bringing that minus symbol down, minus 9, and then minus 3 cubed. Okay, whew. So because it's cubed, it still means the opposite of 3 cubed. 3 cubed means 3 times 3 times 3, okay? So 3 times 3 is what? 9. 9 times 3 is what? 27. So minus 27, all right? So these are all minus signs now, right? So we can start at negative 16, we go in the negative direction 9 more, and then in the negative direction 27 more times. Or we can just add 16, 9, and 27 together and know it's going to be negative because they all have the negative value, and we get the answer of negative 52. All right, next one, negative 3 cubed. The negative 3 is inside parentheses, so that means it's going to expand out to negative 3 times negative 3 times negative 3. And then I'm going to write the rest of the problem out, because we're going to go step by step. All right, so we know that 3 times 3 times 3 is what? 27, we just did it. And then remember when we do, when we're multiplying by negatives, if it's an even number of negative symbols, we're going to be positive. If it's an odd number of negative symbols, it's going to be negative. Okay, so negative 3 times negative 3 times negative 3 gives us negative 27 because there's 1, 2, 3. Okay, or you could say negative 3 times negative 3 is positive 9. Positive 9 times negative 3 is negative 27. So again, I'm going to bring down my subtraction symbol, and then because this is in parentheses again, we're going to expand it out. So it's going to be negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2 minus 2 squared. I'm going to bring down my negative 27 minus, again, 2 times 2 times 2. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. Okay, so we have 8, and then we have negative times negative is positive. Positive times negative is negative. So I'm going to put that inside parentheses again because we're going to have to do it minus minus. And then I have negative 2 squared, which means the opposite of 2 squared. So the opposite of 2 squared is negative 2 squared, or is negative 4. All right, let's just make sure we're on the right track here. Yes, okay. So now we have negative 27. A negative negative is a positive 8 minus 4. Now, for simplicity, I'm going to solve that first. So I get negative 27 plus 4. Now I'm starting at negative 27, and I move positive 4 spots. That leaves me at negative 23. All right? All right, that's it. So remember, negative 4 squared means the opposite of 4 squared, so it's going to be negative 16. When it's inside parentheses, the squared applies to the whole term of negative 3. So then it means negative 3 times negative 3, which gives us a positive 9. Hope that made sense. Lesson 100. Woo! Coming at you soon.